Hello, welcome back. It's like 100 degrees today, but I thought, what time is better than now to share all about my fitness journey and pretty much why I think you should stop training for aesthetics. I'll get more into my philosophy around movement and why I think training for skill and fun is going to bring you better results long term, both aesthetically and from like a longevity perspective later on in the video. But without further ado, let's talk about me. Okay, so how did I get into fitness? I feel like I should start at the beginning, which is childhood. I was a pretty outdoorsy kid, but I was not very active. I did not play any team sports, any solo sports growing up. The only sort of like sporty stuff I did was at PE. And I always hated PE because it came at the end of the day and it was really hot. And so I was just like hot and sweaty and had to run the mile. And it was just like no fun at all. So I did not really associate exercise or movement with joy or fun or something I wanted to do. At uni, that theme continued of being not very active. I walked everywhere, so I was moving a lot, but I had a gym membership that I hardly used. I'd sometimes like go on the elliptical or do some mat exercises in the stretch area, but like once a week maybe. I was not regular with it. It wasn't a big priority for me. What really got me into fitness was disliking the way that I looked, which is sad, but I also think very common. So, okay, how old am I now? I want to say this was around 6 years ago. I feel like the kind of Kylie Jenner figure was really popular, having, skinny waist, big butt, just like more of a voluptuous situation. And I'm not built that way. I am 6 feet tall. I'm pretty straight up and down. And I felt like I didn't have a very desirable figure, a very attractive figure. Now, whether reality actually matched what was in my head, that's a different story. But that's how I felt at the time. So my first introduction to fitness, or like doing it a bit more consistently, was doing like little workout videos on YouTube that would be like 10-minute booty builder burner stuff, which now that I understand like exercise physiology, I realized was not going to get me the results that I wanted at the time. But that was sort of my gateway in of like, oh, I don't like how I look, so let me do something about it. Caveat. Before anyone gets grumpy, I just want to be clear that I'm not anti getting into the gym from a place of wanting to better yourself aesthetically. I think actually that can be a very effective gateway into fitness. For context, I am a full-time fitness instructor now. I am very active, and obviously I love movement. It pays my bills, it keeps me sane, it's the lens through which I explore the world. But I do feel that my relationship to it has evolved a lot, and it's a relationship that I believe can be really beneficial for people, like however you relate to movement. So I think talking about it is something I'm passionate about, which is why I'm sharing this. Okay. So when I tell people kind of a bit about my backstory before I got into the fitness industry, they always think it's like a bit funny that I wasn't sporty or wasn't super passionate about it. And I agree. I think I kind of got into this industry by accident. I took a job at the front desk of a luxury gym because I was between jobs and wanted a bougie gym membership. Like that. And I'm very open about that. Like, that's the only reason I took that job. But I ended up falling in love with, the people that I was meeting and the industry and the energy and the opportunities for entrepreneurship, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think when I took that job at the front desk is when I started to take my fitness more seriously and start to see more changes. So at this point, I am working at this gym where I have access to the gym every day that I'm working. So I take advantage of that. So now I'm hitting weights like 5 days a week. And I've got access to all my friends are personal trainers there, or my coworkers. And I'm asking them questions about like, what's the best, way to do this move? And what's the best like nutrition advice and this and that. And I'm learning so much. I then start doing my comprehensive Pilates training, which is a 450-hour certification. So then I'm learning a lot about the body and movement and physiology and mechanics and everything. So my understanding, my knowledge is building, as well as my time in the gym. So at this point in time, I'm doing pretty much exclusively hypertrophy type strength training, which is trying to get bigger muscles. All I wanted was a fat ass. Like, That's it. That's all I was training for. And I had some results. Like my glutes did get bigger, my legs got bigger. Frankly, all of me got bigger because I was training everything else as well. And I wanted that. I felt I had more muscle on my body, felt like my butt looked bigger. I stopped fitting into some of my older jeans. Basically what I wanted, I accomplished. However, once I got to that point where my physique was looking what I thought I had wanted it to look like, or more along the lines of, I felt new insecurities start popping up. For example, now my butt was like bigger, but I also felt like my tummy looked bigger. My body fat actually hadn't changed that much. I don't know if maybe I was just holding on to more water weight. The shape of my body is such that like I'm always a little bit S-curve, like I don't have a super flat stomach. But that was becoming more noticeable to me. So then all of a sudden I'm feeling insecure about like my stomach area. And then I'll look at old photos of me looking super skinny and unhealthy, frankly, and be like, oh man, I used to be so skinny. And it's just like the mental game of how I looked. I could just never win. So at that point, I'm like, yeah, cool, now I have a butt, but also like I feel like I'm going to the gym not as punishment, but because like I have to do this so that I can look a certain way and I want to look good, rather than, oh, I enjoy moving my body and as a byproduct, I got a cute butt. Or like, it's so fun hitting these strength goals and I really want to try to hit like a PB with my deadlift. And oh, by the way, I like the way my legs look. Like it was very focused on, I don't like how I look, so let me train. Or if I skip a day, I'm going to lose my progress and yada, yada, yada. So I'm about 1.5 years into the gym properly and my personal life kind of implodes. And I go through a very, very stressful period where I stop strength training as much. Actually, I don't even know if I stopped. I maybe cut back a few days, but then I incorporated running and I was also doing a lot more Pilates and mat work. And I was working out like 2-3 days a week. And it was very much like an exercise addiction type of thing. I was feeling so stressed and overwhelmed with my life. And the only thing that would take me out of my mind a little bit was through movement. And here's the thing, I actually think movement is such a good mental health tool to use, but I think some of us, especially those that are in the industry or have a tendency to overwork themselves, can use it in a negative way. And I was definitely doing that. So I'm working out 3 days a week. I'm also so stressed that I'm not eating very much or very well. I wasn't intentionally restricting calories, but I just ended up losing a lot of weight. And I got to one of my skinniest weights I think I've ever been. And here's the thing. When I looked like this, I got the most positive feedback about the way my body looked in person than I ever have. And I actually think that's super fucked up. Because like this is what I look like now. And I'm not like, it's not a huge difference, but I think it's a pretty obvious difference which one looks healthier and happier. So now looking back on that time is made me realize that if you're moving your body only from a perspective of, I need to look a certain way to please other people, you will never win. Because the way I looked, where I got the most positive reinforcement, I was at my unhealthiest, unhappiest. I knew it at the time. I remember even thinking at the time, like, these people should not be complimenting me. And now that I'm moving my body from a place of sort of joy and skill acquisition, I personally like the way I look more. So after that period of intense over-exercising, feeling stressed, my life came to a little bit more of an equilibrium. And it took some time, but it got to a place where I was sort of looking at my life. Exercise was my life in terms of I teach movement full-time. And I'm in these spaces all the time, you know, in gyms, in studios. I have time to kill. I'm taking these classes for my professional development. And I realized, okay, what is my actual relationship to movement? Yeah, it's probably always going to be a mental health tool for me, but I realized I also want to have fun. And kind of unsexy topics like longevity are really important to me. As you age, for women, osteoporosis is so real. I know women in their 30s that have osteoporosis or osteopenia, like bone shit going on because they're not taking care of themselves. They're not eating enough. They're not exercising. It is that serious. So I think I realized, A, I want to feel good and I want to be healthy long term. And B, I want to have fun. So I started exploring movement more from a cultural perspective, trying out different things, yoga, Muay Thai, different martial arts. And that sparked my curiosity. That made me excited about movement again. It was also important for me to start incorporating more mellow and gentle movements, which is a big part of why I got into yoga as well, more as a moving meditation than as exercise. And picking up these different disciplines, for me, at the moment, it's been Muay Thai and yoga, has been such a fun, challenge for my brain as well, because you have these skill-based things to look forward to and to hit. And I think when you're trying to build skill in a movement discipline rather than, it's just my time to work out, I need to go for a run, or I need to go hit the weights, it makes you really excited to exercise and makes you excited about all the sort of strength and conditioning that you can do around the exercise to help support building that skill. It just makes the whole practice more fun. That's the whole point. We're just trying to have fun. So that's the background on my journey with exercise and where I'm at now. But I did want to talk a little bit more about why I think even if your goals are aesthetic, that you are going to have long-term, better aesthetic results by finding something you enjoy rather than something that feels sort of punishing, but that you should do it to get the results you want. Here's what I mean by that. Say, for example, your goals are to be really lean, because that's really popular right now. Everyone wants to be super skinny. Okay, so fine. You understand the basics of a calorie deficit. You have a little bit of strength work in there, but for the most part, you are hitting cardio all the time. You might get to a place where all of a sudden your physique looks the way you want it to, but if the routine that got you there is one that you kind of resent or don't enjoy, you're probably going to stop doing it at some point, at which point then your physique is going to change, maybe not back to square one, but perhaps to something that you also don't enjoy. Versus if you find something that you like to do, say for example, you love to play pickleball. That's all you want to do. Playing pickleball, where am I going with this? Playing pickleball might not be the most efficient way to get lean. I don't know the mechanics of pickleball. But say it's something that you are happy to commit to doing 4 times a week ad infinitum. You're probably going to look better longer term by picking the thing that you actually enjoy doing and being consistent with it than by being super prescriptive and hard on yourself and doing something that might get you the results quickly, but then you're going to fall off because you don't actually like doing it. So whatever that is for you, that can be a sport. Maybe you do love lifting weights, or maybe you do love running. Fine. Find something that you enjoy and can be consistent with. Consistency, every fitness person says this because it's true. Consistency is the most important part, whether you're trying to build a skill or achieve a particular physique goal, whatever it is. Second and last point about why I think you should stop training for aesthetics is because the aesthetic goalpost is always changing. There's been a lot of talk about it now, but especially for women, being super skinny is back in trend. And 3-4 years ago, it was all about having a big butt. Those two aesthetic goals are not complementary. So if you were on a hypertrophy training program and eating in a calorie surplus and doing all the things that you're supposed to do to build your glutes or to build muscle, and then all of a sudden now you're chasing the new trend of being skinny, All that work goes out the door. You don't like the way you look anymore because you're just following what's trendy. And now you have a new hill to climb, and who knows what's next after being skinny. Maybe it'll be having a butt again. I actually don't know what comes after this. I just hope it ends because I don't think it's doing much good for women. But I think if you can make the foundation of your movement or exercise routine something that you actually enjoy doing, and then add the other bits around it, that's going to be the most sustainable way for you to achieve an aesthetic figure that you actually like longer term. That's just my opinion. Now, do I have authority on this topic? I don't know. I work in the industry. I have my own experience. I talk to people every day about their bodies, about how they look, about their training, and I've seen some pretty consistent patterns over time. I do find that when people are aesthetically motivated rather than health, fun, longevity, you name it, motivated, they tend to fall off the wagon a bit quicker. I don't see them as consistently. And they also just seem like less happy people. And not to be corny, but like our time here is so short, and if all you are worried about when you're moving your body is how you look, I just don't think you're setting yourself up for success and a happy, healthy relationship to yourself or movement or exercise. So, okay, I hope that was some level of relevant or helpful or interesting or some combination of the above. I don't really want to spend much time on this channel going over like aesthetics and that side of fitness. I think it's boring, and there's plenty of other people that can talk about it better than I can. But I did want to share my perspective and a little bit more about how I got to the place where I am. Okay, it's 1,000,000 degrees and I need a snack, so I'm gonna go now.